Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Through the night, deep in the heart of Texas, the trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bois, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
That is right. Rusty, we are all the way to season 4, episode 6, A Beer Can Named Desire.
Yeah, and we changed our setting here a little bit for everybody again. Yeah.
Hey, I want to point out the fence in the back. We want to make this a collection point. So if you've got stickers or anything you want us to put, well, mostly stickers.
Mostly stickers,
I would say maybe a button.
Maybe
you could stick
a button
on it or something. If you've got stuff you want to send us,
postcard-sized piece of paper. If you want to print something off and cut it out at postcard size, maybe
if
that'll be fine.
If you've got stuff you want to send us, we'll put it on the fence behind us, and you'll see it in every episode.
And if you want to sponsor something up here, if you want to sponsor an advertisement that goes up here, just DM us for details on that.
It's true.
And we'll get you worked out on something, and that. Depending on, what we work out, depends on how much space you get kind of thing.
And if you'd like to sponsor this part of my forehead, you can do that. This part of my shirt.
I will shave my head.
Palms.
I will shave my head for $250,000.
Wow, that's a lot. I'd probably shave mine for like $150.
Nah, $250K, and then it's gone.
Wow, that's really good.
All we get is bald Rusty. So
that's right.
I'm not seeing the equivalent exchange.
I'll donate 100,000 of it to a charity of your choice.
Whose choice?
That's way too low.
Whoever gives the money. If somebody gives me
$249,000.
No. Oh, yeah, that's Mason back, everybody.
Mason's back.
We've been recording in a way that Mason wasn't able to communicate with us because he's generally busy while we're recording.
Yeah.
But if
Rusty just hates me.
No, we don't hate you, Mason. But if he's busy in the room that he's in now, in the room that we're in, he could still kind of interact, even if he's a little busy.
Like, for instance, I know he's got another recording that comes in about 10, 15 minutes. So we'll get as much Mason as we can out of him while we can. All right, so we are season 4, episode 6.
That's not your job, Mike.
A beer can named Desire. You just look like you need it. This is an iconic episode, especially in the Bobby verse. I would say this is one of the first weird things with Bobby. Like, I mean, there's been some weird stuff before, but this is the first time that they take Bobby off kind of into a different, he becomes a dandy or whatever.
Yeah. He gets a little wild. Yeah, he gets a little wild on this one.
All right, so we start in the alley. We've got all 4 guys and a
Southern gentleman. I think is what you're looking for.
Sure, Southern gentleman, dandy. So they're all out there drinking beer, and Dale finishes a beer and he looks inside it and shines a flashlight inside, and on the bottom inside the can, it says that he didn't win. It says that there wasn't a winner. So Bill asked him, "Did you win?" He goes, "Sorry, please drink another beer." So, I mean, it's not a bad contest. I mean, you just have to keep drinking beer,
Yeah.
He says that's what I call.
Which is what they're doing anyway.
That's right.
You might as well have a goal.
He says that's what I call losing the battle but winning the war. Bill says, "Hurry up, Hank, finish your beer. It could be the winning Alamo beer can." And Hank says, Bill, the odds of winning that contest are 1 in a million. Dale says, yeah, if you only drink one beer. And he has a point there. It is 1 in a million if you only drink one beer.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
You got to drink 1 million beers.
That's right. And so Dale picks up 2 beers, starts guzzling both of those. I wrote down double fisting, but I'm uncomfortable with that phrase.
You're uncomfortable with that phrase.
Bill says, imagine, Hank, a trip to New Orleans, chance to meet Dandy Don Meredith. Hey, Dandy wasn't far off, was it? Dandy Don Meredith and win one of those really big cardboard checks. I want to say, when we did the Battle of the Bands a couple of months ago.
Yeah. We hosted that.
We were able to.
Well, not hosted it. I was a.
We ran
judge,
it. You were a judge.
Yeah.
But we were able to pay the band in one of those giant checks.
Oh yeah,
which was
the
kinda
big
nice.
huge paper check. Yeah,
That's the first time I've ever been able to do that. Yeah.
I always
fun.
love little contests like this. You know, it's like the McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
The stupid.
You remember the Monopoly thing?
Monopoly thing? You remember the scam?
Oh.
The Monopoly guy? There's a documentary about it. You need to go watch that, Mason. It's real funny. It's about the guy who scammed the entire Monopoly system.
Scamming McDonald's.
They made tons of money off of it, and he involved other people too. He implicated others in his shenanigans.
I remember just always wanting. I think they were always offering one game console, and I was just always trying to get it.
Yeah.
Always.
It never worked.
Did you ever win anything?
No, I think I once won a. No, I always they always gave people a free fry, a free soda. It's like
A single
so you
fry.
saved me $1.
Yeah. All I got from it was high blood pressure and hypertension.
So we really need some drum sounds.
Yeah, something. We need a sound. So Mike can hit the.
That would have been great.
That's what we need is a little soundboard
Yeah,
where
we
you
need
hit
a
the button, like
soundboard.
one of the little Elgato things.
We've got one in the other room. Just need to set it up.
Oh, there you go.
So I enter every contest there is. My wife gets pissed off at me because I'm always dropping business cards in those fish bowls, at places.
Yeah.
But to prove, eventually, Blind Squirrel finds a nut because we won $5,000 worth of furniture one time because I did that.
Wow.
Yeah, we were.
Well, you gotta,
and I got paid in a big check.
I think people underestimate some of those sweepstakes things because some people just don't ever enter. Oh, I'm never gonna win. But if you do what you just said and you enter every single one of them you walk across,
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna win a mall car eventually.
It's just numbers, man.
Yeah.
It's numbers.
You're gonna eventually win that car in the middle of the mall.
Yeah, we were able to get some really nice furniture out of the deal. Okay, so again, Dale's got 2 beers, putting them down as fast as he can. Bill says, imagine, Hank, a trip to New Orleans to meet Dandy Don Meredith and win one of those really big cardboard checks. Hank says, sorry, and he looks in the can and it says, sorry, please drink another beer.
Yeah.
He goes, this is my favorite with Hank. He goes, well, they asked nicely, so
They asked nicely.
that's the part he's worried about. Some time passes and there are tons of cans on the ground, which doesn't seem like a Hank place to hang out, but I know that they're fighting this contest. So, by the way, let me go back at the beginning. No bell, no yell.
No bell, no
Just let you
yell.
know.
Also, the title of this show is called Street Can Named Desire, which is a play on the
Streetcar.
Tennessee Williams, a streetcar named Desire.
Yeah. Let's see. He goes, well, at least they asked nicely. A lot of time goes by. There's tons of cans on the ground. Dale says, sorry, please drink another beer because he's looking in the bottom of the can again. Bill belches real loud and says, there, I made some room so they can drink more beer.
Yeah.
Hank said, well, I think I'm going to call it a night. And Dale says, pour it on the ground, see if you won. Hank, incredulous to that, says, I have never poured out beer even to put out a grass fire. He ain't wasting any beer.
Not even on a grass fire.
Not wasting beer.
He'd probably just stomp. Hank just seems like a stomp it out kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's not even grabbing the hose until it's dire.
He might pee on it before he would pour his beer on it.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. He'd have to pull it out.
Yeah, he would have to pull his bird out in the yard.
His
to do
bird.
That. And I don't think that birdie flies anywhere but a bathroom. You know what I mean? I feel like he's the kind of guy that when him and Peggy have sex, he wears his boxer shorts and just pulls his junk out to fly.
It's like a peekaboo.
Yeah.
So now we've cut to the kitchen. Hank has come in with his half-drank beer, and he gets out. This is beautiful because this is what I would do. He pulls out cling wrap and starts putting cling wrap over the beer and sealing it down so the carbonation won't get out. And then he puts it in the refrigerator. The issue I had with him putting it in the refrigerator is if you know anything about French door refrigerators, generally the one on the left-hand side is the freezer.
Oh, and that's
where he put it.
Yeah, that is a little.
That's not good because your beer will freeze.
Well, maybe he's trying to preserve the beer for another day. Maybe he is waiting because it's like, I know I have fresh beer in the fridge and I didn't finish this one. So when I'm getting close to running out, or
maybe he thaws it out.
Maybe he thaws it out before, he drinking his last beer and he goes up to, oh, well, I've got this half a beer here.
I don't know.
I would hope not.
I think it's just anyway. I was confused.
Doesn't that make if a beer freezes and then thaws out, doesn't the beer taste watery?
It's gonna be flat. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. Yeah, because I've tried that. So on the side of the can it says it's got one of those big bursts and says "Win the $1 million throw. See inside can."
Oh
so
yeah, one of those throw competition things.
That's the competition. And as he's putting the beer in comes Luann. Hi, Uncle Hank. He goes, Luann. And then she reaches in and gets the half a beer out and drinks it. She looks in the can and sees, congratulations, you're a winner.
Wow.
1 in a million.
And she drank the one.
She did it. Well, but
it's like Willy Wonka for drunks.
It's true. It is like Willy Wonka for drunks.
Love it.
So next we're at the kitchen table, and we got Bobby and Luann and Peggy. They're all sitting there, and Hank, he is worked up. He's kind of going back and forth, kind of pacing, and he's giving them what for. He says, first of all, you didn't win anything. She says, I won $1 million. Well, no, Luann, we all know that you didn't win a freaking $1 million, but whatever. Hank says, no, the contest gives the winner the right to go to the Dallas Cowboys New Orleans Saints game, throw a football through a small hole in a large beer can for $1 million, or have Dallas Cowboys legend Don Meredith throw it to win $100,000. If you'd read the point of purchase display at 7-Eleven, you'd know that. Okay.
He probably read the terms and service too for that shit.
Oh, he reads all TOS.
Yeah.
All right. So Dandy Don Meredith, you know much about him?
Dandy Don Meredith. The only thing that I know about Dandy Don Meredith was that he was the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys at their inception, because Dallas Cowboys isn't a legacy team. They are a part of one of the earliest. I think it might be the first expansion. Maybe it might be one of the earliest expansion teams.
Well, they were a Kansas City team.
Yeah, they were. They were
moved to
Kansas City
Dallas.
Cowboys or something, right? And
They
then
were
they moved to
Kansas
Dallas
City
Chiefs.
No, it wasn't the Chiefs. It was something else. It may have been
Well,
Cowboys. It was
Chiefs.
something like that.
It was Kansas City something, but I know what you're talking about. And then they moved to Dallas in '60. And they've been there.
So it says
America's team.
Joseph. Yeah, I don't understand it. Joseph Dandy Don Meredith, born April 10th, 1938. He died December 5th, 2010. I didn't realize that.
Oh, rest in peace, Dandy Don.
Yeah, he was an American football player, sports commentator, and actor. He played quarterback for all 9 seasons of a professional career from 60 to 68 with the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL. He was named to the Pro Bowl in each of his last 3 years as a player, which is pretty great in your last 3 years.
Yeah. Well, he only played 9 years.
Yeah, but I'm saying
3 years.
I'm saying think about that. You went 6 years with nothing, and then the last 3 you go to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah,
that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe the Pro Bowl was the inception of the Pro Bowl kind of overlaps that. Maybe
could be
because I know he was a good quarterback. He was a really good football player.
He was a very good football player. He just wasn't ever on those teams that could do it all.
I guess you were probably too. You're too old. You're not old enough to have watched him play football.
No,
on TV,
he played and retired a year before I was born.
Yeah.
So
I'm not trying to date you or nothing.
No, you just did. It's fine. It says he's became a color analyst for NFL telecasts from 1970 to 1984.
That's probably where you remember him from. Mostly.
Absolutely.
I've seen clips, so I know that's where I know him from. I've never seen him play football. Obviously, I'm well past the age of that.
Sure,
but I have seen tons.
I don't know
of
if you have to
clips.
throw obviously in there. That makes me feel a little rough.
Well, it might not be obvious to them. Some people think I'm in my like mid 40s, but I'm barely in my 30s.
I don't give a shit.
But I don't either.
So.
But his color commentary is what I was saying. Is what I remember with Howard Cosell. And
it was
stuff
him
like
and Howard
that.
Cosell. Yeah, they were the team, man. It says as an original member of the Monday Night Football broadcast team, he famously played the role of Howard Cosell's comic foil. Meredith was also an actor. I didn't know this. Who appeared in 12 films and 7 major television shows, some of which had him as the main starring actor. He's probably familiar to television audiences as Bert Jameson, a recurring role he had in Police Story. That's Angie Dickinson, Police Story, I believe. Or is that Police Woman? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Angie Dickinson's the one with the ugly, she has kind of like the weird, unappealing face. She kind of looks like
that.
she kind of looks like Hades in the Disney movie.
Sure.
She looks like a female James Woods, potentially.
Like a female James Woods. That's
Maybe.
exactly it.
Yeah.
All right, so he says, you'd know all this if you had read the point of purchase display at 7-Eleven. She says, okay, so I throw a ball through the hole and then I win. He said, no, I paid for that beer, so it's mine. And she just gives him like this real blank look. She's trying to process this stuff in her head, I guess.
Yeah.
He goes, let's just say it's your beer. How old are you? She says, 19 and a half. He goes, exactly. If you tried to claim your prize, you'd be incarcerated for underage drinking. I don't know that that's true, Hank, but okay.
Probably not.
He's just trying to scare her. And he says, so if it's your beer, you'd go to jail. Now, if it's my beer, you get to come to the New Orleans with us, and it's your call. She goes, New Orleans. Yeah,
so I got
an
an artifact here. Oh, there you go, an artifact.
Artifact.
There we go, artifact.
Where has that been this whole time?
Golly, it just rolled
Artifact.
off. There you go. So here we go from the Artie files. Luann is 19 and a half years old, as she says here in season 4, episode 6.
Yeah.
Well, according to Artie and the information that he's pulled out of the Artie files, we have information here from season 7, episode 21, which is at least 3 years later. She turns 21 in that episode, which is titled Night and Deity. So again, that talks back to what we had discussed before we ever started the show, when our first episode where we had talked about continuity. And one of the reasons why we like it is because of the different continuity things that they have. And that again is that alludes to one of the continuity things where she ages up, you know what I mean? So
that's funny because I've got a continuity note here in this next scene.
Okay.
We're back in the alley and it's got all 4 guys there drinking, and Hank and Bill both are in light blue shirts, which you never see Hank in anything unless he's dressed up to go somewhere. Yeah. He's always got that white shirt on. It's light blue, which really threw me off. I thought, man, that is so weird to see him in a different color out in the alley.
Yeah, it is weird to see him in a different color. Anytime you see something like that, it's kind of odd because, again, we go back to the pure continuity thing. So when you have one of those things, it's like a sore thumb sticking out to you because you're used to seeing white wife beater or white shirt on him, white wife beater on him, gray button up on him, and then a black shirt on him. So anytime any of them are wearing anything remotely different, it's or the shorts, when you come in, you automatically know that this is going to be a focal point for this episode when there's something odd with their clothing, even though this really kind of isn't.
Yeah, I've probably seen this episode 100 times, but because I'm sitting here taking notes now,
you notice it now.
I go, oh shit, look at that, So
yeah, that's the reason why it's slowly. I'm not able to watch it the same way that I was before, where I just had it on.
Yeah.
I can't just watch it like that anymore.
No, you start
I have to watch it for the show, or I don't watch it.
Yeah, it's
no longer. I know it's your guys' comfort show, and you all probably put it on. But doing the show for you guys, it's really made it to where I don't want to watch it.
We start to really critique it as we go.
It takes too much when I'm doing it because I can't watch just 30 minutes of it anymore. It ends up being an hour and 45 minutes, and I'm pausing it and I'm Googling and I'm pausing it and I'm Googling. So
well, and the other thing that has changed for me for the positive for this show is I notice the jokes a lot more. Like there's some just little throwaway jokes in there, and I notice those a lot more now.
Yeah, I do too. Because whenever I watch it now, I watch it with the script open. Yeah. So I have the script open, I'll have the notes, and it's just it's become a scientific thing. So I don't really watch it every day anymore. I just I watch one episode a week. I watch that episode probably 10, 15 times that week, but I don't watch I don't watch it in syndication.
You know what I get really sad whenever I binge something and then I'm done with it. I just finished all of the seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I'd never watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
And now I'm sad, and it's not because I don't have more Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's just because I was able to slide into that thing and just get comfortable,
you got
and watch 7 seasons, or 8 seasons or whatever it was. But now I'm looking for something else, and comedy's tough, man. There's just not a lot of great comedy.
There's really not.
It's either that absurdist stuff, which some of it just does not land, or it's stupid stuff, which
you know why? You know what it is? It's to do with it's to do with a lot of the writing woes that are going on right now, but it's also do with how easy it is because some of these writers are aspiring comedians.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot more avenues for these people to where they don't have to sit and write on shitty TV shows. There's more avenues for them to go and do their comedy other places, especially right now in Austin with the big huge movement in Austin with the Kill Tony events and stuff that are going on. He just had his 10-year anniversary for his, and they sold out 3,000 seats for a comedy podcast. Yeah. New Year's, they're selling 8,000 seats at the new HEB Center in Cedar Park, and that's just literally bucket pulls out of a hat, and random people go do 60 seconds of comedy.
Amazing.
Whether they're good or not, it's a show. That's, you know what I mean? It's comedy is, I don't know. It's
super amazing.
It's in a renaissance, I think, here in Texas.
It is. I think all across. I just finished listening to, it was a 4-part series that Conan O'Brien did on his podcast.
Oh, Conan, yeah.
And it was podcast. the never made Hans and Franz movie, from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, yeah.
And it had the guys on there, and they were doing the voices and stuff, and they did the whole script. It was pretty fantastic.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I would love to see that kind of stuff start coming around, where there's like maybe old things that never got made.
Yeah.
That maybe they'll make them as animation, or they'll make them as whatever, on one of the streaming platforms or stuff. I would love to see that kind of stuff.
Hey, it's getting there.
Any of that inside baseball stuff, I'd love it. Okay, so we're back in the alley with all 4 of them. Hank and Bill are in blue shirts for some unknown, godforsaken reason. And Dale says, "So, Hank, what are you going to do with the 100,000? Of course, you could go for the $1 million." And they all just start laughing. Bill says, "I don't think a civilian's ever made it. Made a 10-pass yard through a 1-foot hole. People screaming in the stands, 'Thank God for Don Meredith.'" He just keeps going, Dale says, "Thank you, God," in response to "Thank you, God for Don Meredith." And Hank just looks, it's the most worried I've seen Hank in a few episodes. He looks pretty damn worried.
I would be worried because you got to think at this point, the man hadn't played football in 35 years.
That's true.
Well, probably 30 years, not 35 years. 30 years he hadn't played football. So, yeah, he knows, I think, deep down, it's not a sure thing.
It's a tough one, yeah.
Andy
yeah.
Don might not have that arm.
Think about that, man. You get one chuck.
Now, if you're talking about $100,000 for some of the quarterbacks we got in today's era of football that have retired, like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, or even Eli Manning's accurate with the ball enough to throw it through a hole at 10 yards. So, All
right, so we're in the bedroom with Peggy, and Hank is kind of miming throwing. He's over there just kind of working it
doing
out.
A dry run.
Yeah, he's over there working it out. Peggy says, "It's like they're paying us $100,000 to meet Don Meredith." Hank says, "Something I would have done for free." She says, "That money could pay for Bobby's college and a mini fridge for his dorm room." Hank says, "Yeah, we could buy all sorts of higher education and appliances with $1 million. She goes, "What? Are you really thinking of taking that throw yourself?" He goes, "What do you think if I was thinking that?" She goes, "Hank, honey, if you're willing to give up a sure thing and go for the $1 million, well, you've got more frijoles than any man I've ever known." And then they start just making out, and I love the shot of their glasses falling to the ground.
Yeah, I like that too.
Not
That's
the clothes,
so funny. It's cinematic.
The glasses.
Again, going back to Wes Archer's animation direction. Also here, she says frijoles.
Frijoles.
As a conversational Spanish speaker, it would be huevos.
Instead of huevos.
Huevos is what she was looking for. It's funny that she used beans because it's almost like she sanitized it, because you know how she doesn't say cuss words, so maybe huevos is just too much for her to say, so she has to say beans instead. I don't know.
No sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny.
All right, so we're out in the Hill garage, and Hank is working. He is cutting, welding metal. He's doing all this stuff. You don't know exactly what he's doing, and then you see that he has built a giant Alamo can to practice with. And he's put that hole in it so he can go out there and practice throwing balls into the hole. He's one of the hardest workers on things that just don't matter sometimes,
Yeah, he's out there giving it all for.
Now, over the fence, we see the guys pop their heads up, and Dale says, "What are you doing, Hank?" He goes, just seeing what it's going to be like for Don Meredith at the Superdome, because he's throwing balls, and he throws one and he misses.
Yeah.
Dale.
I've got a little bit of information here from
please.
Artie about this particular football game that they're going to. So Artie, this is one of those things where I got to give him 2 thumbs up for, because he went and dug up football scheduling.
That's amazing.
for a Dallas Cowboys New Orleans game.
Those used to be big games.
Yeah, they were huge games. That was back when they were the Aints.
Because, I mean, think about how close they are to each other.
Yeah,
you know?
when they were the Aints, everybody wore paper bags and stuff in the audience and in the crowds. So he goes and digs up the archival footage for us, and apparently around when this episode would have aired and all that, there would have been a game, December 24th, the Christmas Eve game in 1999 was played by the Saints and the Cowboys. But he even went as far as to make sure that the game was at the Saints Stadium.
Superdome? Yeah.
So he picked and found the one that's at the. So it was December 24th, 1999.
This is 99, right?
Game. Yeah, we're in 99 right now for the actual show. The actual show's air date. Hold on.
So this is before.
Was November 14th. Yeah.
This is before Katrina, right?
Yeah,
Katrina wasn't
way
until
before Katrina. 05.
6 years later.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was like 05, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird for me to see the Superdome now.
I was in high
after all
school.
that happened.
I had a teacher. We had this weird thing happen with geography, our geography class, where the teacher quit before the start of the year. So, or he quit like second week of the year.
Sure.
So they were scrambling to find teachers. So our second teacher that year was this guy who had property in New Orleans. And when Katrina hit that time, he had to leave.
Oh, I bet.
So he left, and then we ended up with like a third guy. And the third guy was probably one of the best teachers I've ever had in my life. Yeah, he was a musician, and he was real young. He was like fresh out of Baylor. He was a real good guy.
He was able to get along with you guys.
They sucked it right out of him. They sucked all the life out of him. Yeah, he
I
went to
don't doubt
Valley
that.
Mills. He went to Valley Mills after like 3 years.
It's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. It's tough to teach kids.
Public school.
Dale says, how about I come with? I've always wanted to eat fried dough in the most corrupt city on earth. I just love that phrase. Hank says, that's nice and all, but you don't have to bother. He goes, it's no bother. You can drive us and we'll stay in your hotel room. Yeah, it's no bother for you, Dale.
No bother whatsoever.
Yeah, he's going to drive you, and you're going to stay in his room. Hank says, well, I guess we could. Hey, Wingo, man, we're going to New Orleans. And so all the guys are going all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Bill says, hey, I'll come with too. The Doe-Treves are from Louisiana. I lived in the bayou till I was 6 years old, which we've never heard.
I've never heard that.
My Aunt Esme still lives there. You think we can look her up? And Hank.
Well, we looked her up. Aunt Esme is played. I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way before Aunt Esme even gets a talking bit. She's actually played by Meryl Streep.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, but we also have a bunch of voices in this one, so I'll go ahead and run it down real fast.
Yeah, please.
You got Lily, who we'll meet in a minute. Marty Maguire.
Okay.
Don't even know who that is.
Don't know who that is.
Violetta is played by Natalie Maines. No clue who that is. Rose is played by Emily Stayer.
Okay. Don't know who that is.
And then Gilbert's David Herman. We know who he is.
Gilbert.
Gilberto Trev. He's David Herman is one
David
of the
Herman does all
regulars.
the weird voices, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the rigs.
So he says, I've lived in the bayou till I was 6 years old. My Aunt Esme still lives there. You think we could look her up? And Hank, again, incredulous to it, just is like, dang it. I know we can. I planned out the route to New Orleans very carefully. There's plenty of time for a side trip. I just love that that's like it's a bring down for him. He's like, yeah, I did a really good job.
I did a good job. Now we got to pull off over here.
Dale says, Bill, I didn't know you grew up in Cajun country, and I don't care. And then the boys just leave. They'll just leave.
Yeah.
Hank throws a ball through the hole, and then he throws a whole bunch through the hole. It just bam, 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 bam. Next thing we see is he's in the garage. He's rolling in that giant can, and Peggy says, and how is my man with the golden arm? And you can tell that they did it because they're both in very good spirits with each other.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely got all that tension out the way.
She says, how is my man with the golden arm? He goes, call the bank, make sure there's room in our account for $1 million.
That's a funny joke. That's one of them ones that you're talking about where you might have not got it. It might have passed you before, but you sitting there analyzing the show like we do. Yeah.
See if there's room.
Let's see if there's room.
She goes, you going to go for it? Oh, Hank. He says, yeah, well, I made 42 of 50, would have made 43, but I used a throw to drop a blue jay at 20 feet before he could poop on your car. And she goes, oh, you're that good? He goes, mm-hmm. I guess you could say my aim is deadly. And he kind of laughs and he goes, that blue jay's fine, though.
Yeah, the blue jay's good.
I love that joke. All right, that is the first commercial break. We're going to take it also, and we will be right back with you guys. Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. You know, they gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender.
Yeah.
And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in, you know?
Oh, yeah. I don't like that
USB-C
either.
saved us- saved us all.
USB-C saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. There's 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one? Lavender.
Pink one.
I think ours is lavender. Yeah.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today.
Glibbity
Glab
glob.
it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code.
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey, everyone. It's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this, my parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that
What else
has
are
like
you
an
gonna do,
unfinished
right?
puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know.
Die.
Feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. Just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. Before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. And we are back. We are on our way to New Orleans with the Hills and everybody in the car. It pans down and we see the sign that says New Orleans 76 miles. And then they pull over into this shack, and this is it felt a little, I don't know, like they were making fun of these guys, which they're just people who live in Cajun country,
Yeah.
but they're over there speaking Creole to each other and kind of laughing, but they're dirty and sweaty and the windows are broken in the shack.
They're
and
down
all
there
this
in the
stuff.
bayou.
I know, it just seemed a little, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's that bayou living down there in the bayou.
So they're
I
watching.
really like that. That's one of my favorite American regional accents.
Oh, yeah, it's a great
is
accent.
The bayou accent.
I like the Appalachian accent.
I like the
as well.
Appalachian too. You know, actually, with the Appalachian, they say there's documentaries and stuff about the Appalachian Mountain voice,
Yep.
like that sound. They say that's as close as you can get to colonial American, what we would have
wow.
sounded like in colonial
That
America.
makes sense.
And that's the closest you get to the Queen's. Well, it's not the Queen anymore. The King's English being
Yeah.
spoken in the United States.
Huh.
It's like the closest connection that you can get.
You would not put those two together, but I can see that.
But what they do is on that documentary is they break down all the vowel sounds and stuff, and then they have like somebody speaking how they would have spoke back then, and then listening to the accents side by side, you could definitely see the morph. Like you could definitely tell that they are definitely kind of similar.
That's super interesting.
Yeah,
These
because of the
guys-
isolation is what it is.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
of how
doubt
isolated
that.
they
I
are.
don't doubt that. These guys are dirty, sweaty. They're in a shack. They got broken windows around them, and they're speaking Creole to each other. Hank says they're speaking some kind of French. Peggy, here's shitty Peggy for you. She
Yeah.
comes in and goes, okay, let me handle this. I speak Spanish. It's the same thing. Well, no, it's not, Peggy, but okay.
Yeah, Artie's got something for us real quick on that. I'll run over that real fast.
Yeah, sure.
So Artie goes ahead and says, of course, these two languages are similar, which most people know. Romance languages are similar: French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian.
But they're not the same.
But they're not the same. And then Creole is definitely not the same as any of that. The only thing that it's closely even, and it's not the same at all. The grammatical structure and everything is different. The only thing that's the same generally is just words. They use some of the same words that French use, like some French terminologies in it, because of course. But other than
Yeah, but
that,
that's probably more of like a Latin thing, like where
Creole,
it all
yeah.
came from the root. You know?
it came from what do they call it? Vulgar Latin. Isn't that what it was
Yeah,
called?
something like that.
Yeah.
So she goes, okay, hold my beer. Let me handle this. She goes, I speak Spanish. It's the same thing. Hey, senor, dígame la dosia. I don't know what the
I
hell
got
she
you.
says.
Dígame las direcciones a la casa de los Dotrives, por favor.
Which means nothing. It just means nothing.
She did say something about directions to a house. I don't know what dígame means.
She says to Hank, he wants a tip. The guy never said anything.
wants a tip.
What is she?
didn't
Bill though, he steps right in front and
Je
just starts
m'appelle.
speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, he just starts speaking Creole. Just boom, 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 boom.
Which that means how are you in French? Je
Right.
m'appelle. I think that's what that means.
So the next thing we see is this is odd to me too. They're driving a red minivan. Where did this? Is it Dale's? Doesn't what's her name have a red mini? No, she's got a red car.
Yeah, I got a red car.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is they rented this, right?
Oh, actually, sorry. I spoke wrong. Je m'appelle means my name is.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's introducing himself. Okay, my bad.
But yeah, that's the only place I can think of where
That's
they
the
got
place I
this
can
red
think of, too.
minivan. Yeah, because I just wrote
Enterprise?
down. I just wrote down driving in a red minivan we've never seen. You've got Pank. You got Peggy and Hank in the front. Hank, of course, is driving. And you can see Bill, Dale, and
Could be
Boom.
Bill's. We never see Bill a vehicle
that's
for
true.
Bill, right?
We see Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer in the back. Dale and Boomhauer are both passed out asleep. Bill is just real. He's ready, boy. He's like a dog in a car. He's ready to go. Now, here in a minute, we see Luann and Bobby, but I don't see them in this van.
No, I don't either.
Maybe there's a third row, and they're
Or a
laying
second
down
car.
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because everybody because everybody's in that van that's there, that's present.
It'd
I
be
don't know.
7 people in that van.
Maybe they're in the luggage.
They're curled up in the luggage
Yeah.
rack. Peggy says, Bill, I had no idea you spoke Cajun. Perhaps that's because I try not to ask you questions.
It's fucked up.
Bill says, well, I had no idea either. And then he points at a mansion they're coming up on, and he goes, voila, you see. Hank says, good Lord, I always figure your family lived in a tar paper shack.
God.
Bill,
Good Lord, that's a good one.
Bill just goes, nope. Just like it doesn't even faze him. Nope. They pull up, and Hank and Peggy and Bill get out. And then here comes the aunt, 3 more girls, and a guy in a white suit. They come out to greet Bill at the front of the mansion.
Yeah.
The aunt comes out and she says, William. And he comes over and speaks some Creole to her, and then goes, Hank, Peggy, Bobby, Luann. And again, I just wrote, from where? Where the hell
From
did they come
where?
from?
Where do they come from?
And then Dale and
Luggage
Boomhauer.
rack.
So he introduces all of them. And he says, "Who are you?" Answers in the form of English, please. Dale's saying this to all those girls up there. He goes, "Who are you?" Answers in the form of English, please. And Gilbert says, "I am Gilbert Fontaine de la Tour d'Autrive, the man of the house." And he bows to Dale. Dale just goes, "Dale Gribble." And then here comes Rose, one of the girls that came up. She comes over to Bill. "I am Rose, the youngest." Bill's like, "Oh." And then in comes another one. "I am Lily, the youngest looking." He's like, and then in comes another one. It says, "You're terrible. I am Violetta, the pretty one." And then Bill looks at him and goes, "You are a garden of women." Whatever that means.
Wow.
You're a garden. Because it's Lily and Rose and Violetta. And then one of them says, "And you are the William we've heard so much about, the last remaining Dautribe male, or should I say," and she looks back at Gilbert, and Gilbert goes, "Oh, don't bother." So
insinuating that
it is insinuating that he's homosexual.
that he's
Yes,
homosexual,
yes,
yeah.
but they never say it, which I was pretty. He's like, "Don't bother." Okay,
which is funny that he says that.
it is funny. Yeah,
I don't know.
He's a
that's
good
stuff, I
character.
think.
He's a very
he's a very good character. So David Herman again, kills it with one of these side bits that we get.
He shows up again, right, Gilbert?
Yeah, he shows up again when Bill makes that barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
He gets all pissed at him.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew we saw him
At this
again.
point, I think Mason might know King of the Hill better than me.
He does. He knows it very, very well. Next scene we see is Hank. He's out there messing with the spare on the minivan. He's taking it down off the back there.
Yeah.
And Gilbert comes out and he's looking at him. He goes, "Oh, you kind of snuck up on me there." He goes, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I've always been a creeper." Who the hell calls themselves a creeper?
This part right here, I like. Violetta says, "I creep like the kudzu vines that are slowly but surely strangling our Dixie."
Until a while back, I didn't know what kudzu was.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But it is. It's an invasive species that just takes
super
over.
invasive.
Yeah.
So here we go. Kudzu vines, known as Mila Minute and the vine that ate the South, are native to Japan and Southeast China. It was introduced in 1876 as an ornamental.
Vine that ate the South.
Yeah, it was as an ornamental. It spread from the 30s and 50s because it is good for erosion control. And during the 30s, there was a lot of that erosion issues.
It's tough. Like it'll hold
real
shit
hardy
together. Yeah,
it's real hardy. And it says that
has to be.
this doesn't really matter, I guess, really. But here we go. It can grow up to a foot a day. But,
Wow.
But other than that,
That's a lot,
That's
dude.
a lot. It's like asparagus.
That is a lot.
That's like asparagus.
Yeah.
You could harvest asparagus in the morning and go out by the time the day's
Really?
end, and you got enough
Oh,
to
shit, I didn't
snip
know that.
again. They
Huh.
grow really fast.
Wow.
Yeah. Kudzu plants produce purple or red flowers after 3 years. The leaves, flowers, and roots are edible. The root should be cooked. So if you're eating the kudzus, just make sure you cook the kudzu root.
Okay, let me go ahead and take that down as a note.
I'm
that I need
sure
to
we don't
cut
have any
and
fans eating
cook
kudzu
my
roots.
kudzu vines.
I imagine
Yeah.
our fans are in a Taco Bell drive-thru at 2 a.m.
They may be in a Taco Bell drive-thru as we speak.
questioning life choices. Yeah.
Yeah, well, could be worse. Or maybe it can't be. He says he calls himself a creeper. He says Violetta says I creep like kudzu vines. He goes, uh-huh. And then he says, what fascinating thing are y'all doing? He says, I'm going to be throwing a target about yay big at the Cowboys Saints game. If I make it, I win $1 million. And he's referring to the spare. So I'm assuming he was going to take it out and try to throw the ball through it.
Yeah.
He goes, Golden Richards was a Dallas Cowboy.
I got something on him though. So I don't know why this
I
matters.
remember Golden
It
Richards.
says he was born on New Year's Eve, 1950. I'm not sure what the relevancy of that is already, but here we go.
It was a party.
There you go. And he
Party
played
baby.
football for the Bears and for the Cowboys. He only played 86 games total in his
Yeah.
whole career.
I remember the name, though.
Yeah. He was known for his blonde hair and his handsome smile. He never had any kids, which that put a lot of speculation in the media that he might be potentially gay.
Sure.
And then he was arrested for drugs and had a reputation of being an alcoholic drug user, which again, people associated with homosexuality in this ignorant era of time that we lived in.
Yeah, because only homosexuals are alcoholics.
Yeah, only.
We know that.
Yeah, I know more
Science
straight
has told
alcoholics.
us that.
Yeah, drinking beer is going to make you gay. So the cross section
Just one kind of beer now.
So
Just the one.
he speculates. This is Artie's speculation, not my speculation or Mike's. This
I got
this one
you.
belongs
Sure.
to Artie, just in case it offends somebody.
Asterisk.
It says the cross section of these two paths, him potentially being gay and then him being a drug addict, alcoholic,
Sure.
might be the cross section where him and Gilbert have met.
Oh, could be.
So
yeah,
that
absolutely.
was his speculation.
Gilbert says Golden Richards was a Dallas Cowboy, and Hank says, yeah, he caught a touchdown in Super Bowl. What do you say? 22.
22.
He goes, he was a beautiful man. I knew him briefly. And
Yeah, I knew him briefly.
Hank's just like, That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Okay, now we're in the mansion, and Peggy is walking around with Aunt Esme. They're looking at
Meryl
all the
Streep, everybody.
They're looking at all the beautiful paintings and stuff, and there's this giant painting of a man. And Esme says, "My husband Alphonse Dautrey, William's uncle by blood." And Peggy says, "When did he pass?" He goes, "Oh, he lingers in a room in the back of the house, hanging on by the thread of a hope he'll see the Dautrey name passed on to another generation. Does William have any sons?" Peggy says, "Nope. Bill is unhappily divorced and without child." Unhappily divorced and without child.
Damn. Such a bitch.
She is.
I don't even care what anybody thinks. She is a bitch. Straight up.
SMA says, "Oh, pity. The Dautrey blood is down to a trickle. My two sons and my son-in-law, Garrick, Renee, Emerald, died of arterial sclerosis in their 20s, leaving 3 desperate, childless widows to wander this house. They are strings on a harp stretched far too taut.
I love the language. Yeah.
If they are not strummed soon, well, they really need to be strummed." Peggy says, "This is right out of Shakespeare." Okay, idiot. Now we're at the graveside where one of the sons was buried, and Bill he's like trying to get the kudzu, I guess, off of the tombstone. And one of the girls comes up, Rose, we find out. She says, "This is my husband, Garrick. The Louisiana diet will kill a man as surely as a sword." Oh, no, this is before that. So he's just standing in front of it. They're both standing there watching. He goes, "So, Rose, you're not married?" She goes, "I'm all alone in this world, William." And then they start speaking French. She literally slams him down on top of a grave and starts making out with him.
Oh, yeah,
right
easy.
then and there.
Okay, this is the thing that I was confused about this episode, and I might be jumping the gun because they might address it, but I don't remember it being addressed. Why? Oh, okay, never mind. I got it now. So all these 3 women are in-laws, not.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
they do address it here in a second.
Yeah, they do. You're right.
But it
I
still
remember
doesn't
now.
make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me.
It really doesn't, because like 3 dudes die and then you grab the other. Like, why don't they just go? It's not 1875. That's what the whole thing show is. It's like they're stuck in this friggin' time warp, and they're living by like an 1875 standard where if the brother dies,
maybe even earlier.
Yeah, if the brother dies, the woman marries the next available brother kind of thing.
So what we're dealing here with are 2. Let's see, what'd she say? 2 sons and a son-in-law. Those are the 3 that have died.
Mm-hmm.
So the women married to the 2 sons would not be by blood, so that's fine. It's the son-in-law.
That's the one that's by blood.
She would be his cousin, and so that would be by blood. That's the one you want to stay away from, and so he has to figure that out.
But I
here in a little
imagine
bit.
in antebellum Louisiana,
I don't think it matters. Yeah.
probably. Current Louisiana, it might not matter.
Well, I'm just saying, this far down in the bayou, you could probably not see another human for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
I have a buddy down in Lafayette. He's actually read every book inside of the Lafayette Library. He's got like a little placard for it because he's read all their books. But
best I ever got was eating a 72-ounce steak. I got my picture on the wall. I did.
No. Well, he was looking for. He'd never eaten a bagel ever in his life.
Oh,
we
yeah?
We were
Really?
talking about it. I was like, "You never had a bagel?" I said, "There's no bagel shops in Lafayette." Well, he goes, "I don't think there's a Jewish population in Lafayette."
It's probably pretty true.
But it's not. We went and looked it up.
Really?
And Lafayette, there's this big oil. It's like a big oil town, and there's like this big oil center that was started and still named after a Jewish guy that had built it out and everything. So it was really, really funny. I was like, "You're the only dude that lives in a Jewish community that does not have a lock
never
or
had a lock or a bagel
available to you."
I didn't realize until maybe a month ago that Waco, the town we live in, had a highly Jewish beginning. A lot of the people that started this town, big Jewish community at one time, not anymore. So now we're at the graveside. She throws him down, starts kissing on him, making out on him. Now we're back in the mansion, and I wrote down looking for Rose. Bill is coming through there going, Rose, Rose, and we hear this triangle playing, ding, ding, he goes, oh, hello, Lily, that was pretty. Now, what song was it? Or is it supper time? That's a wonderful Bill question right there. Was that a song, or does that mean it's time to eat?
Does that mean it's time to eat?
She goes, oh, my late husband, Renee, and I used to make music together. Now they are only notes. And I wrote down on the fainting couch. I think they're sitting on what they
they called them fainting couches, where it was kind of like a sunbed almost, something you'd have in a parlor.
Yeah. And Bill picks up an accordion out of nowhere and just starts playing it.
Playing a beautiful melody.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like picking it up and playing it. It was
just
like
picks
it up and starts
he's
hitting
just
like
playing this
virtuoso
beautiful
style.
thing. Yeah. And she says, oh, you play beautifully. And she starts crying a little bit. And he goes, I'm surprised as you are. And then
this scene is one of my favorites of the movie right here.
She jumps over on him and starts kissing him, and then she realizes what she's doing. She gets up and just runs off.
She's probably the cousin.
Yeah, could be. Later on, we're in Gilbert's bedroom with Bobby, the aunt Esme, and
this
Gilbert.
Is the scene I meant. My bad, I jumped the gun. Yeah,
in front of the chifforobe or the wardrobe full of clothing, and the aunt says, Robert, a young gentleman like you should dress for dinner. And when she says Robert, she's speaking to Bobby now.
Yeah, Robert.
Right? Robert. Gilbert says...
Kind of like Colbert, Stephen Colbert.
Sure. Gilbert says, well, let's just poke around my old chifforobe and find you something suitable. My Lord, this muggy November weather gives me the horribles. Robert... This here is velvet, not velveteen. And he says his name in, I wrote down Robert. So Robert, this here is velvet, not velveteen.
Did you write down what the difference between velvet
and
velveteen?
Not. I just know that he pulls out the little blue suit that looks like the little Fauntleroy suit and gives it to Bobby, and Bobby starts rubbing it on his face. He says, between velvet and velour, he goes, a gentleman must learn the difference. And Bobby, he rubs it on his face and he just goes, my Lord.
For the fans here, you can go to threadsmonthly.com is where we're getting this information from. So Velvet has high pile, whatever that means, and a glossy. Thicker. Oh, thicker. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it has a high. Oh, that's like when you drop it on the ground,
like the carpet. Like this has zero pile to it, but then you get the shag, which is a high pile.
Ah, I got you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Velvet has a high pile and glossy shine, making it better for luxurious evening wear and upholstery.
I had a high pile one time. I had to take a bunch of
Yeah. I've had a few of those.
Sure.
I was stopped up one time so bad. I somehow thought it was a great idea to go eat at a steakhouse. We ate at a steakhouse.
No.
I ate a 22-ounce steak.
That's a plug,
and
man.
2 pints of beer, and it wasn't a plug. It was a deluge.
Was it really?
I went home after eating that 22-ounce steak and those 2 beers, and it was like 2 weeks just fell out of me. It was crazy. But back to the Velveteen. So
thank you very much for everybody who was listening.
So the Velvet has a high pile, glossy shine. Velveteen has a short pile. It's stiff and structured and has no drape or shine. So
so it's more of like
throw pillows or something.
Well, throw pillows
or
those kids' books where it has the thing that they can touch or whatever. But you're right. It's those throw pillows.
Meemaw's kitchen chairs.
Meemaw's kitchen chairs.
The ones that you're not supposed to sit in unless you're eating.
That's right. That's right.
That's Velveteen, folks.
Weird, but okay. All right, so now we're in the big dining room, and Gilbert says, dinner like youth will be served. Boomhauer is standing there, and one of the girls walks past him. He goes, yo. And I just wrote down that he's wearing his Miami Vice coat because that's how he dresses fancy. He dresses like one of the guys from Miami Vice. She just goes right past him to greet Bill, who is in his one suit and tie that he owns. And it's Lily, and she just goes, hello. And then you get Gilbert again saying, I present you young Master Robert. Bobby comes out in his blue velvet suit, and he's got this orange. I wrote down bow tie, but it's not really a bow tie. It's like a bow that's been tied.
Like the Colonel. Colonel Sanders wears that big kerchief thing or whatever the hell they call that damn thing.
It really is amazing. SMA says, lovely. And then, of course, it pans to Hank, and Hank's like, oh, my God. Bobby, why don't you let me sit next to Gilbert so we can talk sports. So, Gilbert, how do the Saints look this year?
Yeah, this line right here.
Gilbert, he goes,
I'm more familiar with sinners than saints, my dear, and sinners always look good.
and once again, Hank is very confused. He doesn't know exactly what's going on there.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, he don't know whether this guy's left or right.
So we now see something that doesn't have any dialogue, but it's after dinner, Bill, he's putting on a little performance for the ladies. The girls are all watching. He's doing that knee slapping thing where you dance and you slap your knees and stuff to the music. Gilbert's over there playing the accordion. He doesn't have it looks like a cigar, but I think what it is it's one of those extensions that has a cigarette on it. You know, the little holders.
I know what
If we
you're talking
have
about,
any
yeah.
listeners from New Orleans, particularly of the female variety, please email us and explain, if at all possible. And I'm sorry for cursing. How the fuck is this sexy?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
I don't know.
genuinely
Slapping
wanting
your
to know the
legs and
answer.
stuff. Yeah. No, I don't think it
know
is.
either. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think this show is this particular episode is kind of weird because they're doing things that were hip and cool. 150 years before this episode aired.
Yeah, it's old stuff.
Yeah.
And I want it to be known that the tune that Gilbert is playing in the script here, it says playing sprightly tune. So it's a sprightly tune he's playing. Now we're in bed with Hank and Peggy, which has become a normal thing. But
I don't want to interrupt you for a second, but
go for it.
I just saw one of his notes that I missed.
This is
Artie's notes.
Artifacts.
Artifacts. So earlier it says youth will be served.
Yes.
Okay, so I know nothing about this at all, but according to Artie, there's a 1940 musical named Youth Will Be Served, whose title is based on the proverb, Youth Will Be Served. Mm-hmm. And the proverb goes, when all the world is young, lad, and all the trees are green, and every goose a swan, lad, and every lass a queen, then they for boot and horse, lad, and round the world away. Young blood must have its course, lad, and every dog is day.
Does he mention who wrote that? Or
No, he doesn't.
Jeff from the corner store wrote that.
Oh,
It was
sorry,
good. It was
I might
good,
have
though.
missed
I love
it.
English
Did we,
prose, though. It's got to be some kind of English prose because of the way it rhymes. The rhyme
Did we
scheme.
what?
Sorry to talk over you, Rusty.
No,
No, you're good, buddy.
Did we already mention that who Gilbert is based off of, or not yet?
Oh,
No.
Gilbert, no.
No, we have not.
Oh no. This is based on the wiki, but it's kind of obvious, especially with given the title of the episode. He's very much based off of Tennessee Williams.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
I didn't. I already kind of put something in here about that. He said that Peggy says the story is straight out of Shakespeare,
it's not.
but
No,
he says it's
Tennessee
more
Williams.
of a Tennessee
And
Williams.
Streetcar
since,
Named
it's
Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire,
Yeah.
he wrote that. So
Isn't that
Mason fact?
I don't
He was
know
very
shit
much
about
like
it.
this. He was very much like this. He was very
Southern.
outgoing, Southern. He was a dandy. All of
Is
that.
that
kind of
how?
stuff.
Is that because I don't know anything about that? Is that a movie or something?
Streetcar Named Desire?
Did they adapt it into a film? Though?
Oh yeah,
Yes, they did.
many times.
The first one though, like is it
the
worth
first one.
watching?
Well, yeah. The first one has Marlon Brando.
Marlon
he's
Brando's
main
the
guy
dandy?
who goes
He
out.
looks like
no,
Gilbert.
No. He's the guy who's in love with the girl, and it's the famous scene where he's out on the street ripping his shirt open and stuff.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny though because Marlon Brando kind of looks like Gilbert. Like Gilbert might have been
He
modeled
did.
after
He
a
did
young
back then,
Marlon
yeah,
Brando,
yeah.
like a really young
Marlon Brando used to be a badass. I mean, he really was.
He's in some good movies.
But
But
from badass to asshole.
To 540 pounds.
I love it when it smells like what do you say? What's the Apocalypse Now quote?
Oh, I love it when it smells like napalm in the morning.
yeah.
He was
love
a hard
the smell
ass.
of napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
He. I always get that one and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof mixed up in my head for some reason.
Yeah.
They're both kind of the same kind of setting, Anyway, okay, so we're in a bed with Hank and Peggy, and they're in this giant room. It looks like a vampire's house, right?
Yeah, it's a crazy house.
It's a big 4-poster bed, and it's got the mosquito netting over it and stuff.
It's a very controversial home these days.
Oh yeah, it's antebellum.
Yeah, antebellum. Do they still say antebellum? They haven't created another word for that yet?
No,
I know they took away Dixie from the Chicks.
Bellum's fine.
Bellum,
Using that.
just
yeah,
Bellum.
he's fine.
Just Bell, not even Yeah.
Leave out the Don't put that in your mouth. Hank says, get me out of here. Peggy says, honey, you need to try and relax before your big throw. Hank says, I'm not sure being a millionaire is such a good idea. Bobby's only been around rich people for a few hours, and he already looks like that kid on the paint can. So I had to look up kid on the paint can.
Yeah, Dutch Boy Pants.
It is.
Paints.
It's Dutch Boy Paints. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but
I watched this show with I watched this show a bunch, and I've seen that paint can. And I just never even knew it was a brand. I thought it was just made for the show.
I'm showing it to Mason here. Yeah, it's a
let me
little.
see it again. I mean, I've already seen it.
It
but-
says, well, hang on one second.
Oh,
It says,
go ahead.
Dutch boy icon was originally created to symbolize a superior method for creating paint products known as Dutch process. The Dutch process originated with two chemists in the 16th century Holland and set the standard of paint quality and beauty for centuries to come.
Wow.
The legacy lives on with Dutch boy paint. So,
One thing I know about
Hey,
Dutch
there you
Boy
go.
is that what Vic Mackey called Dutch on the Shield.
oh yeah, that's true. Wow, Shield reference. That's crazy.
Wow. Isn't that Don
Good
Chickless?
job. Good job though.
Don
Wait.
Chickless, right?
Say what?
Was it?
No.
No, what's that one?
No, it's
Vic Mackey, The Shield, FX.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
Great show.
Remember, he's
That's
Al
one-
Capone with a badge.
That is one of the first ones that's one of the first TV shows that surprised me with something. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, at the end of the
The
pilot,
explosion.
right? Oh.
No, the explosion later in the car, like that kills off one of the main characters.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, holy shit, that's not supposed to happen.
And
And it
actually,
was done by another main character.
That's right. Yeah.
and actually, Dutch Boy is still a company.
It's still a company, and they still use
Since
that
the
kid.
1900s,
Yeah, they
since
still use that kid.
1907.
But what they're referring to is that blue thing he's got on. He just
Oh
looks
yeah,
like
he looks goofy as hell.
He looks very goofy in his velour.
Looks like it looks like a painter suit. Well, I mean that's
It
what
does.
that's what Playboy's wearing.
It really
like
is.
A painter suit.
Yeah, it's just a painter suit. So he says, he's only known these rich people for a while, which I don't think they're rich. But he goes, he's only known them for a few hours, and he already looks like the kid on the paint can. Peggy said, there's more to it than that, isn't there? He goes, this place, it gives me the creeps. Again with the creeps. Everything's upside down. Bill's getting women and Bobby. Well, I missed a bunch of throws today, and I'm just thinking, what happens when I get to the Superdome with all those fans watching? Here comes Peggy with her sage advice. She says, don't you think Don Meredith missed a few passes in practice? But when the game was on the line, he put his money, he put it right on the money to Bullet Bob Hayes and Lance No Pants Rensel.
Yeah, Lance No Pants Rensel. The reason why he has that nickname is
Didn't wear pants.
No, he exposed himself to a 10-year-old girl.
Are you kidding me?
November 23rd, 1970.
That's
He was
insane.
married to a famous model at the time, too, named Joey Heatherton.
I know Joey Heatherton.
And soon
used to
after
be-
that, she separated from him, obviously.
Joey Heatherton was huge on like the talk show circuit back then.
Yeah.
She would be on like Merv Griffin and all these other shows and stuff. So
That's crazy. I thought the no pants would be like he's just a guy who didn't like pants. And it was a locker room
too. That's
joke.
crazy that it was a
But no, he was
sexual misconduct.
exposing himself to kids. Gosh, darn.
Hank
Right here on
responded.
Bois, everybody.
Hank responded. This is a mature episode.
Very mature. episode. Don't
Hank
let the
re-
kids listen to this one.
Or make sure you got pants on when they do. Hank says, "See, that's just
Whoa.
it." He's
Whoa, Mike.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Hank says, "See, that's just it. He's the quarterback. I bet if the contest was about selling propane, he'd let me do it." Peggy says, "You can do it, and then after we get back to Arlen, we'll put the $1 million in a trust fund, so it won't ruin Bobby until after we're dead." And then Hank
That's
just lays
funny.
there looking at the ceiling and goes, "I hate Zydeco." And I'm right there with you, Hank. I'm not a big fan.
You don't
of
like
it.
Zydeco?
Not a big fan.
Well, for those of you that don't know
all
what
sounds like-
Zydeco is, it's a Cajun-based music, and it usually has accordions, spoons, and washboard strapped to someone's chest.
Zydeco and what's the other one? Ska. Every one of their songs sound exactly the same to me.
I like
just
ska,
can't,
but
I can't with it.
Zydeco for me is I don't know. It's like it wanted to be reggae, but it wanted to be this, and it wanted to be that. It's like reggae, jazz. It's I don't know, it's just weird. It's
To
just
me,
such a weird style
you can
music.
tell the influences and all this stuff. Like it sounds partially like Mexican music.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds partially like German music. Of course, then again, when you
polka,
get
yeah.
when you get into like Mexican music, it sounds kind of like polka and vice versa. I mean, there's a stem of something here that's in all of them. You know, I mean, there's something there, but oh my God, every song sounds the same. So now they're packing up the car to leave. Hank says, "Where's your bag, Bill?" Bill says, "I've decided to stay for a few days." He's out on the porch with all three of these women. Peggy says, "Bill, those women are trying to seduce you." He says, "You think so too? I was afraid it was just me." Not self-aware. She goes, "Listen to me. 2 of these women are widows of the dead Dautrieve sons. They're only related by marriage, so they are in play. But one of them is your flesh and blood cousin. She is your ticket to hell." Bill, not to overstate much there, Peggy. Bill says, "Oh my God, which one is my cousin?" Peggy says, "That I do not know. So just to be safe, keep your hands off all 3. Bill says, "Oh, I still have a 2 out of 3 chance," which good for you, Bill. He goes, "I never have those odds." She goes,
That's disgusting, though. Think about it. He's sitting there tossing the coin whether one of them might be his cousin.
She says, "Bill, if you think," and he goes, "Goodbye, Peggy." He just interrupts her right in the middle, and he's just like, "Bye, see ya," and he just goes right back to the women. Bobby, however, is over there standing on the side in a light blue suit with a white hat, and he has a cane, and he's fanning himself with his hat, and he goes, well, I need a window seat because this flower is wilting. That is my favorite Bobby of all time.
That's
right
one of my
there.
favorite Bobby quotes for sure. You know, I never understood
This flower is wilting.
that ain't my purse. You know, I don't know you. I never understood why that was such a popular line.
He's kicking somebody in the groin.
That's probably what it is. That's probably where the humor comes from.
Yeah.
Is the nut kick.
Alma balls. Hank says, "Oh Lord! All right, everyone in the car now. Go, 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 go!" And they all run to the car. Gilbert says, "Have a pleasant journey and don't be afraid to ask directions for someone who has already been where you think they need to go." And Hank says, "What is that supposed to mean?" He goes, "Let Dandy Don Meredith take the throw." Which, what would you do? Which one would you do? Would you try to make the throw, or would you let Dandy Don take the throw?
Oh, I can't throw for shit, so I'd have Dandy throw. I mean, 10 yards.
It is just 10 yards.
I can hit a human being in 10 yards for sure. Because I mean, but I just hitting a super specific small hole on a cardboard cutout. That's not even really. It's probably the perfect size of the ball too, with very little.
Yeah, it's like at the fair.
It's like the fair. It's all rigged. You got to be able to do it. You got to be
or a papa shot kind of thing. You know, the basket's the size of the ball.
Perfect. Yeah, you got to be really perfect with it. You got to have like the technique down to get it done, because that's what they do. The carnies will hop over the side.
Yeah.
They'll show you the trick. They'll do it flawlessly every time because they've done practice it a million times.
They've done a million times. Yeah.
And then they'll hop back over and they'll say, "Oh, it's that easy. You can do it just like me."
I think I would do what Hank did. I
would go with Dandy Don.
I think I would make the thing and practice until my nuts fell off, and then try to make the throw myself.
That's what I would do. And the only reason why I would do that, it's tough for me because I'm not very good at throwing a football anyway, but the guy has not played football in 30 years.
But it is just 10 yards. It'd be different. You see those half court shots to win a car. You see those guys kicking a field goal from the 40-yard line or whatever to win a car or something.
I see teenage kids on TikTok alley-ooping and throwing it over their head and doing overhand shots from
it's because they got 9 hours a day. They can just sit there with their phone on, and one time they make it.
Yeah, true.
All right, so this is the second commercial break. We're going to go ahead and take that, and we'll be right back with you guys. Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. You know, recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use, they contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, dipotassium phosphate, whatever that is.
Terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'm good on any flavoring.
They taste gross.
I don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earthen flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, who does that?
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil, and everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you. Mm-hmm. There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives, no sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it is it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the foods you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai BWAAA King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah.
Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog. But luckily, there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. We know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient. They're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration. Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is, that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out. All right, and we are back. We were just talking during the break about how this is a very wordy episode. There's a lot of dialogue, a lot of stuff. I think the thing that I like about it is it expands the universe a lot. Because you've built this whole dough tree thing in Louisiana now. Now we're going to the Superdome. Now Dandy Don Meredith comes in. I just love.
It's crazy going from Texas to New Orleans.
Yeah, but I'm saying, think about all the other characters and places and things that we've introduced in this one.
Not only that, it fleshes Bill out. Yeah, smartass. It fleshes Bill's character out, if nothing else. You get more of an understanding of Bill and what Bill's about. So Bill came from money, but now Bill's just this derelict bum.
I like in this how...
he's not a derelict bum. Sorry, he's a United States Army soldier. I didn't mean to say that. That's offensive to some.
He's a haircut.
But he's a bum at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
So I like the fact that we continue to learn how easily Bobby is influenced by whatever. It doesn't even matter. If it's different from his regular existence in Ireland, he loves it.
He clings to it.
Loves it.
Which is good. I like that.
I cannot wait till we go to the Satan Sucks episode. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, Satan Sucks. You like that one?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about that's the skateboarding church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love that one too.
Yeah, skateboarding.
Hey, listening to your dad's cool. Yeah, he's like, you got to listen to your dad. Like that's the. Yeah. It's I like it because it's
Knoxville,
like the
isn't it? Or somebody like that.
So. Yeah,
somebody like Knoxville.
But it's like the antithesis of skating is what that whole show's about. Yeah. It's like that's totally against skate culture.
Listen to your dad is cool.
Listen to your dad is cool.
All right, so we are at the Superdome in New Orleans, otherwise known as the place they took people after the place flooded. The whole parking lot is empty, so they are early. And when it first shows, we see the sign in front of the Superdome, and it says Alamo $1 million throw, Cowboys versus Saints. Like I say, they're in the middle of an empty parking lot, and then we see them go inside, and Hank first sees the sign outside, and you can tell he's just kind of overwhelmed with it. But they go inside, and they are in I wrote it down here somewhere. What's it called? It's like it's the Alamo something room, so that the VIP room or something like that.
Oh, yeah, with like a sponsor.
Oh, here it
room.
is. The Alamo Hospitality Suite. So they're in the Alamo Hospitality Suite. And then the guy from Alamo comes in and goes, Hank, I'd like you to meet Don Meredith. And Don Meredith says, so you must be Hank Hill. And goes up and shakes his hand and stuff.
Don Meredith, everybody, voiced by Don Meredith.
Fantastic. That's quite a stretch.
He was still alive. Yeah, he was still alive at this time.
Hank says, Mr. Meredith, I've admired you from your playing days to Monday Night Football to your iced tea commercials. Now, I meant to do something about the iced tea commercials, and that completely went past me. But there used to be a Lipton iced tea thing where people would fall backwards into a pool in the commercial, and that was like sensing that you were refreshing or whatever. And I think that's what he's referring to. You're looking up one of them?
I did actually find it right here. So you've got 1982. You got it with Willard Scott in 86.
82. Yeah.
81.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a date on it.
Yeah, he did a buttload of them.
78.
This
so
is for-
the guy was, wow, he was prolific with
Yeah,
the
he
Lipton
was.
tea. Man, that's crazy because
He was their spokesman.
that has to be, not only, that has to be like one of the earliest instances of marketing for like a guy from football doing ads and stuff. Like
I don't
like,
know. I mean,
not the first, but
Joe
he had to
Namath
be.
did the thing with pantyhose.
Yeah, but Joe
You ever seen
Namath's
that?
post. Isn't he after Don Meredith, Joe Namath?
Or is it
so?
so?
Or are they the same era?
He was 60s, I believe.
Oh, he was
He was
60s,
late
okay.
60s, I think, when the Jets won the last time. The last time the Jets were any good. Well,
they might be good again soon. You don't think so?
No, I think it's
Aaron Rodgers?
I
Think it's a
think
fluke?
I think
Think
it's
it's a fluke?
No, I just think it's a garbage fire. I think it's a dumpster fire.
All right, yeah, it could be.
He says, Mr. Meredith, I've admired you from your playing days of Monday Night Football to your iced tea commercials. And again, they were those commercials where they'd fall back into a pool holding a thing of iced tea,
Yeah.
which just sullies up your pool. But Don Meredith says, well, my mom always calls me Don or Donnie. And Hank says, wow, that's a great story, Mr. Meredith. No, it's not, Hank. You're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That's a great story. He
No,
goes,
1965 is when he started.
There
So
you
yeah,
go.
and then he went to the Rams in 77. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was around that time. Yeah.
He goes, sir, this is my wife, Peggy. Peggy says, if you were a woman, I believe my husband would have married you instead of me. Don Meredith goes, funny how life works out. Well, who's this little future nose guard? And he's pointing at Bobby. Bobby is showing off his smoking jacket and his ascot that he has on now.
Yeah.
And he goes, look, Don, I'm a dandy too. He goes, why, you sure are, little sport. And Hank just like, oh, yeah. The guy from the Alamo then pipes up and goes, hey, that reminds me, Don, I've got your old jersey for you to wear during the contest. And you just hear him go, whew. Yeah, no, I hung that thing up a long time ago, says Dandy Don.
Yeah.
He goes, why don't you let my friend Hank here wear it? And Hank says, oh, I would be honored. You got the pants too? Yeah, cowboy metallic blue. And then Don just kind of chuckles. He goes, like father, like son. And he's referring to Bobby with the smoking jacket. He pulls out a flower out of the little vase, sticks it in Bobby's lapel, and goes, there you go, sport. Now we are, Bill is outside. Now he's pulling those vines off of the grave.
Yep.
He gets a little startled and goes, oh, Rose, I was just tidying up your husband's grave. She goes, oh, you are a sweet, sweet man. He goes, Dotreve, your husband is a Dotreve, because he sees that it says Dotreve on the thing. And he goes, he's dead. And then she goes, take me. And he goes, okay. And they both fall on the ground and just start making out right there right in front of the grave.
Yeah, that's
on
probably
the grave.
You know, that's probably the most sex Bill
Oh, my
Dotreve.
God.
He's already had. Well, it's like the third instance. It's probably the most sex he's had in probably the 9 years since Lenore.
Oh, I think it's the most sex he's had in his life. Now we're back at the Superdome.
Nah, I don't want to say that. We can't say that. We got to remember who Bill is and was before Bill became soft.
bulldozer?
He was a strapping young man. Remember when he
just don't see
came
Bill
back for the
getting it.
military and saved Hank, and then Hank gets the
That's true.
tattoo, and he
Yeah.
was just like this big.
Well, he also
you know,
stole a tank in an
sexy
alternate
man.
universe.
Yeah, Mike don't like that one though. Mike didn't like that.
I didn't like that. No.
I don't know why Mike. I want to be able to talk to him to find out. I'm just curious as to why he doesn't like the
That
tank
would be
thing.
super nice. Yeah.
I think that he didn't like
I
it.
think it's the fact that everything
It's
happened in a
unreal.
year. I think is what it was.
Well, it's
more
not
than
real
anything.
though. He likes realism.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he likes
That's
the slice of life kind of thing.
So now we see both Peggy and Hank sitting on a bench. They're in the tunnel that leads out to the field. Those tunnels always remind me. Do you remember the Mean Joe Green commercial where he this kid comes in and gives him a Coke and he throws him his jersey? You ever seen that commercial?
Yeah. You're talking about Mean Green. Yeah.
It always reminds me. Anytime I see those
the tunnel,
like
it'll
that,
be
it always
him, and
reminds
he
me
hands
of
that kid that Coke.
Yeah. Peggy is in a full-length yellow dress, which is weird. You don't normally see her like that.
Yeah, speaking of Cokes, I've been on like a weird Mexican Coke kick.
Okay.
Doing my delivery routes, summer's hot as hell.
Yeah,
and I drink a lot of water, so by like the end of the day, I'm just like so waterlogged from drinking water all day.
It's supposed to be 108 here this next week.
Yeah, I know. It was terrible last week.
It's June.
It was god awful. But it was one of the restaurants that I serve to, they always ask me if I want a drink for free. You know, they give me free drinks or whatever, and I always take a Mexican Coke.
Oh, that's cool.
But now they've got me buying pallets of them from Sam's, or not pallets, but cases of them.
It's that pure cane sugar, man.
Imagine a pallet.
Sugar. Oh, no. That's a heavy pallet, number one.
Heavy pallet. A lot of glass bottles.
Hank is wearing the number 12 Dandy Don jersey, and they're both just sitting there waiting for everything to start. Peggy says, now's the time to fake an injury if you want to. Oh, great, Peggy. Good way to support. The Alamo guy comes out and goes, it's halftime, Hank. We're on. He just keeps on walking. He's got a flip cell phone up to his face. And he goes, now it's time for the Alamo beer $1 million throw. Once we get out onto the field, you hear the PA announcer say that. They're on the phone, or they're on the field with a microphone. Dandy Don is in his fur coat, which he was kind of known for that. Hank and Peggy are standing right next to the big old beer can. And the guy is saying into the microphone, Alamo Beer would like to welcome our contest winner, Hank Hill from Arlen, Texas, and Dallas Cowboy legend, Dandy Don Meredith. You hear the whole crowd cheer. He goes, what's it going to be, Hank? Are you going to go for the $1 million, or are you going to let Dandy Don try it for $100,000? He looks down at the football. He looks at Peggy. He looks at Dandy Don. Don winks at him. And Hank says, don't worry, Peggy. Our boy's going to college. And he says to the guy, he goes, I'm going to take the sure thing. He hands the ball to Dandy Don. And Don goes out to throw the football, doesn't take his jacket off or anything. It's just like it's nothing to him, right? He goes out there and he throws, or he goes out in his jacket, and Hank says, aren't you going to take off your jacket? And literally, Dandy Don just comes up, throws it, and misses. He just goes bonk. And then he walks right past him and goes, tough break, son.
That's the grift, though.
That's the rough, grift,
man.
But that's the grift. Be pissed.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
It's like,
right?
I know you. I know you don't care if I get this money or not.
Yeah.
But like, could you at least pretend to give a semblance of a damn?
Yeah. But that's the hidden terms in service. He doesn't have to care about you to throw. They didn't say so that he had to care.
Well, we
know,
find
it's like common decency, man.
Well, we find out later why, but still, it's still not great.
Also, I'm gonna say this now. I never believed his explanation. I don't believe for a second he was practicing that throw.
Yeah.
He was just saving face.
Yeah.
Granted, I get for the context of the episode, we were supposed to just believe him, but I never did.
I don't doubt that one bit. So we hear the PA announcer say, how about a nice hand for Dandy Don Meredith? And he just starts taking off. Hank goes, he didn't even take off his jacket. I want a do-over. I could have made that throw. Dandy Don's walking off, and he's like, hey, where are you going? You owe my son a college education. Hey, you get back here. And then he tackles Dandy Don on the field.
What do you think the moral lesson is for the episode for this then? What do you think the tale of morality is for? Because, every episode's got it. So what would this be? Would it be don't pawn off stuff on other people because 9 times out of 10 you can handle it on your own?
I think it's more of like be content with what you have.
Yeah,
because if you think about Bill and Hank, it kind of comes into play for both of them, right? You kind of be content with what you have.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we are back at the mansion. Violetta comes in Bill's room. This is in the middle of the night. Bill again is in one of those 4 posters with the mosquito netting and stuff. He goes, Rose? She goes, it is Violetta. He goes, oh, I'm glad you're here. Can I ask you something? She just, without a beat, goes, the answer is yes. He goes, yeah, I know, but your first, he says, yeah, I know, till the answer is yes.
Yeah.
He goes, but your first husband, what's the name on his final resting crib? She goes, answer him, Violetta. And this is Lily who's come in the room now. By the way, everybody's in lingerie. They're all trying to seduce Bill.
Yeah.
And Violetta says, Lily, be gone.
It reminds me of the succubuses in
yes. in like Dracula and stuff.
Like Homer's Odyssey or whatever.
That's true,
the sirens
too.
when
Yeah.
they crash against the rocks. That's what they're kind of like.
They
They're,
are
they're
kinda
trying
like
to get him to
sirens, yeah.
crash. Yeah, muses or something from Greek folklore.
And so Rose says, "This is wrong. Violetta is your blood cousin, Guillaume. She's lying." And one of them says, "I'm not your cousin. She is." The other one says, "You're a liar." One of them says, "William." He goes, and then Bill says, "Rose, we are not alone." You idiot. Okay. She can see the other people. Rose goes, "Yes, I know. She is your cousin." And I mean, at this point, they're all just yelling at each other and fighting. No, she is. No, she is. You hear them shrieking and stuff. And then they all start fighting each other and they roll up in the netting and just tumbling over each other, just fighting for Bill's affection, which is nuts. This is like an entirely different world.
This whole like next exchange is so funny.
So Bill reaches over and turns the light on in the room and sees Gilbert in the chair. And he's like, "Ah, Gilbert." He goes, "Your cousin is Violetta." And then here comes Violetta past Robert, and they both just go at each other. They both hiss at each other. Bill says, "Now, how long you been sitting there?" He
35 years.
35 years.
That killed me. I love that. That's one of my favorite lines.
All right, now we're in a motel with Peggy and Hank and Bobby, because this is after the debacle of the ball not going in the hole. And Hank says, "I was a quarterback and I had a clear path to the end zone, but instead I handed it off to a guy in a fuzzy coat who threw it like a place kicker." Bobby says, "I do believe I'll give room service a jangle and have them send up some etouffee." He's still in his smoking jacket and his ascot. And then the next thing you see are the sliding glass windows open up on the motel room. Hank's got all of Bobby's clothes and just chucks them. He just gets that's right. He just chucks them, and Bobby's no. I believe.
I mean, you figured he'd want Bobby to, dress, I mean, I know not like that, but just, formally.
Yeah, this is a line, though, man. When he says, "I do believe I'll give room service a jangle,"
that's
and
a good line.
Send up some etouffee. I mean,
that's what we need. We need a
step
shirt.
Too much.
We need a shirt that just has etouffee. It just says the word etouffee with a bowl
I'll take the whole
of
quote,
etouffee.
man. I'll take the whole quote. Okay, so now they're packing up the car. Hank is, and he sees Dandy Don come out of the motel, I guess, and he's hailing a taxi. And Hank says, "Hey, hold it right there." Don says, "What do you want?" He goes, "An apology." He goes, "Huh, you're the one who blindsided a quarterback at the knees, hoss." And Hank says, "Yeah, well, I guess that was unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm sorry, but still, well, here's my point. I would have made that throw." Mm-hmm. Don looks at him and goes, "And if and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas." So that quote right there is my last little note. It says it was coined, that quote, "candy and nuts," was coined by the Dallas Cowboys quarterback Don Meredith, so it's literally a quote from him. He says he was on Monday Night Football at the time. Howard Cosell said to him, "If Los Angeles wins, it's a big one, but San Francisco is still very much in it." And Don Meredith responded with, "If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas." So that's where it came from. It came from Monday Night Football.
And it's also a derivative of another saying from the 19th century. If ifs and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no work for tinkerer's hands.
There you go.
Already with the English literature degree.
You know what it also reminds me of?
That's what his degree's in, is it literature?
Oh, wow.
Or writing or something. Because no, journalism, I think is one of those English literature journalism thing. He's took a lot of writing, as you could tell.
What it also reminds me of is the Hard Rock Candy Mountain thing by Dolly Parton, that song.
Hard Rock Candy Mountain.
Or not Hard Rock Candy. She does the Hard Rock Candy Christmas or something like that. Anyway, it's what it reminds me of.
She also does the best little whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds, and that was woo-wee, boy. She was smoking back then, wasn't she? Literally smoking. She's on fire.
Smoking.
Yeah, she was hot.
You got it. He says, "So if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas." And Hank says, "I would have." He goes, "All right, Hoss, prove it. Take us to the Superdome, cabbie." And so they both get in the cab and they're heading back over to the Superdome. What amazes me is what happens at the Superdome, but I'll tell you about that in a second. We're back at the mansion, and Bill and his aunt are in the drawing room. Bill is in trouble. You can tell because he looks like a dog who just got spanked or something. And his aunt is kind of cross-examining him, and she says, "Violetta tells me she discovered you in a compromising position with Rose and Lily. Tell me this, were you here to till the soil and nurture the vine, or were you just playing in the garden?" Bill just looks at the floor and goes, "Playing." And she says, "I think it would be best if you took your leave." He says, "Can I say goodbye to the girls?" He's just trying to get, he's trying to get it one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back at the Superdome. We're on the field with Don and Hank and the big beer can. And I just wrote down, it's still there? I mean,
Yeah,
they had to play a second half of football.
Yeah.
So,
Also, one last thing.
yeah,
Bill screwed himself again, as typical. All he had to do was lie.
that's true.
All he had to do was
That's
lie.
it.
I don't condone using women.
Bill is just too Bill.
Don't lie to us,
You can
Mason.
say one thing about Bill: he is a pure soul. You know, I mean, he's not going to lie to you a lot.
No, he's
because
not.
he just doesn't have the capability.
He's
of
like
doing it.
he reminds me of Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah,
Just a real dumb,
Eeyore.
maybe Eeyore.
Those
Well,
kind of,
maybe
yeah,
Dopey's
those
too
kind of
happy.
things.
Dopey might be too happy.
No, I think Bill's pretty happy most of the time. He's like, "Whoa," and then he'll just
Yeah.
start crying. So we're
Man.
back at the Superdome. We're on the field with both of them. And Dandy Don says 10 yards, one shot. And Hank throws it. He makes it. And he goes, "Congratulations, son. You feel better?" Hank says, "No." He goes, "It's not the same. There's no fans in the stand. There's no pressure. And I didn't win $1 million." And Dandy Don has some good advice here. Again, not sure that I believe him, but he says, "Let me tell you something, Hank. What happened yesterday is gone. Maybe you would have made that throw, but you picked me." Hank says, "Yeah, I picked you, but I thought at least you'd have taken off your jacket." He goes, "Hank, I practiced that throw all week at home. I even made a 10-foot tall replica of the Alamo beer can." That's the part that's hard to believe right there. is
Yeah,
that he
yeah,
made
yeah.
he made a
Yeah, like,
replica.
I doubt he cared. I'm not expecting him to break his back for this, but
No.
Well, the
don't
reason
tell
why
me
I
you
believe
made
it-
a
I
big
cannot
replica.
imagine that.
Well, the
yeah.
reason why I believe it is because he's kind of like Hank. They're just them Texan. I don't even know if he's
Well,
from Texas, but
I think I'm going to prove
they're
you
just
wrong
them good
here.
old boys.
I think
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to prove
are.
you wrong here real
You
quick.
probably will.
Because he goes, I even made a 10-foot tall replica of the Alamo beer can. He goes, "It gets cold in New Mexico this time of year, and so I wore my coat." So I don't know if he's originally from New Mexico or what,
Yeah,
but he does have that Texas accent. I
he
know
might have
that.
retired to New Mexico.
That's true.
But
That's true. The heat's
it
better
would
on
be
his bones.
accurate. It gets cold in the desert in wintertime, so it could be.
He says it gets cold in New Mexico this time of year, so I wore my coat. I wasn't going to change that yesterday. I didn't want to screw up my throwing motion. Hank is like, "Huh. Well, I had no idea. That probably wouldn't have. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have tackled you." He goes, "Damned if I didn't want to come through for you. I'm sorry I let you down, but you'll be a lot happier if you let this one go, Hank." Hank says, "I'll never have a chance like this again." And Dandy Don says, "Nope, you won't. There's something I wanted as much as you wanted that $1 million." He goes, "Don, you have everything. You were a cowboy during the Landry years." I mean, that's enough for Hank right there. He goes, "I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. Came close, but it never happened. Never will, and that's all right. I've never looked back." And Hank says, "It's an honor just to be on the field with you, Dandy Don. I built a 10-foot Alamo beer can too." And they start walking down to the tunnel. He goes, "Huh, did you spot weld it or hot glue?" He goes, "Weld. That's the only way to go, hoss." The next scene we see, because Dandy Don and Hank have all made up, we see the big sign or the gate up over the entrance, and it says Chateau d'Eau-Hetrive. I'm assuming it said his last name at one point. Big metal sign, and then it pans down, and you see Bill just standing there, stupid grin on his face in the rain with his suitcase, and the minivan pulls up. Peggy puts the window down. She goes, "Nice weekend, Bill?" He goes, "Yep, both of them." And that's it. We get to the credits. Bill got him some, and Bill was treated like royalty almost. I mean, he was something else.
The last of his kind, and apparently, when Gilbert croaks, Bill seems to benefit from that. Like,
He does.
Like he's going to get a lot of money, and I hope they revisit this in the. I'm not going to call it
That
a reboot,
would be
but
nice.
continuation of the show.
That would
'Cause
be
it's not
nice.
a reboot.
Yeah.
So you guys know, it's like with Futurama. Everybody keeps saying they're rebooting it, and I'm like, well, a reboot insinuates
not
it's
the
not
same.
the same producers, it's not the same creators, it's not the same. It's pretty much all the same people that had everything to do with the first stuff.
That's right.
I'm sure there's different people now, but
Yeah,
most
well,
of
there'll have
most
to
of
be.
it,
Sure.
most of the original cast. But I want to let y'all know how unprecedented that is. Unprecedented it is in television experience for a show to be revived and brought back as many times as Futurama. They've tried to kill it so many times, but the fans will not let that.
I'm not a
die.
huge Family Guy fan anymore, but they're right up there with
Futurama.
it too. They've been killed a bunch. No,
Oh,
I'm saying Family Guy
Family
also.
Guy. Yeah. No, Family Guy got killed a couple of times and revived. Yeah, the only one that, like again, I said, and I've said it 100 times. the Cleveland show is shit. It only lasted 4 seasons, and it took out a show that lasted for 13 seasons and had such a cult following that we have a podcast, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We get the credits, and then after it, we go, we hear Hank one more time say, wow, that's a great story, Mr. Meredith.
It's a great story.
And that's it, man. We are moving on to season 4, episode 7 next time. Rusty, you want to tell them where they can find us?
You can find us at BWAAKOTH.com or at RogueMediaNetwork.com as well. We're over that way.
A lot of stuff there.
We're working on some stuff. July, we should roll out Patreon. We're working on content ideas and stuff for that and what we could do. If you have any ideas, suggestions, insults, whatever you want to send in, send it to BWAAKOTH@gmail.com or info@roguemedianetwork.com. Or you could email me at idon'tcare@sbcglobal.net. No, I'm just kidding.
We a Friday coming up. We've got another
some more fan
listener
stuff.
email. Yeah,
you nutcases keep emailing us.
This is a response in the Crazy Eyes era quote. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wasn't that from the last episode?
Yeah, it was from the last
Friday
listener.
episode.
Yeah.
This is like his rebuttal.
This is his explanation for it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but we'll see you again next time.
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.